Right, in this lesson we're going to be looking at shell chords. Now, shell chords are kind of a cut down version of the full chord, and they rely a lot on what our ears perceive, what our brains kind of make up for what they don't hear. There's a lot of that goes on in music. There's implied chords, and your brain hears something which it actually does, which your ears don't hear, which is just implied. Now, let me show you. The chord of C9, which we've been playing, like that. Now, we can strip that down so we don't have to play as many notes as that. The essential notes that we need out of that chord are the third and the seventh. Now, if you look at the third and the seventh, we know that the seventh of C is B flat. So we're going to play that, and we're going to play the third, which is the E. Okay, now that sounds a bit odd. It's what we call a tritone. Back in medieval times, that was known as the devil's interval, and there was all sorts of superstition around that interval. Sounds a bit odd, but when you put it together with a C, you can hear a chord in there, and that's a shell chord of C. Now you can play that in that inversion with the B flat below the E, or you can swap them around so you can play the E there. Okay, and you can still have the E down the bottom, and it sounds good. Okay, now remember the notes. Okay, remember, we'll just use this one for the moment. B flat and E, remember that. When we look at the third and the seventh for F, there's your F. Your third is A, and then if you remember, the seventh is E flat. Okay, now we've got, again, sounds good. You can play that in that inversion, or you can move it down to there. Still sounds good. I wouldn't go any lower than that, but that's about right. Now, what were the first ones we had? We had B flat and E. Now, if you look, B flat and E are very close by, a semitone away. Okay, they've swapped around though, because this is the third and this is the seventh. So, just for demonstration purposes, my right hand is playing the third here, and my left hand is playing the seventh. And then when we swap to the other one, my right hand is now playing the seventh, and my left hand is playing the third. So we can do this. 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now when we get to G, the third of G, we'll come away from that again for a minute. The third of G is B, and the seventh, as we know, is F. Okay, and then we know that G and F are next to each other. We've got to go to an F next, so we can just move down to there, which is where we were before, and then back again. So moving from the C, the end of the second line, to the beginning of the third line, just think about that for a minute, from the C to the G, that moves from there to there, up a semitone, and then down a tone, and back up to the C again. Now I'm going to play that, just for argument's sake, I'm going to play that with the right hand for a minute, and I'm going to put the roots in with the left hand, and you'll see. So here's our shell chord for C, and then back to F, and then up to G, then F, and then C, and turn around. So we can do that with a backing track, and you'll see what it sounds like. I'm going to be a little bit syncopated as well. With a bit of improvisation. So you can see how it gives a completely different feel doing that or this. Neither is better than the other. They're just different ways of doing the same kind of thing. They'll give you different textures, and that gives you more vocabulary to choose from. In the next lesson, we're going to be looking at what we call comping.